Hello everybody and welcome. We are finally here. NBL 22 is about to go next level. We are NBL Overtime. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. I'm Cam Luke and the man who was day 19. I was gonna give you a little
fist bump.
Either way, man, day 19 and continuing to train to look good naked. Homicide, what's up, big man?
Tired, man. My body, man. Listen, it's hard work, but we got to get it done.
Is that why you're not rolling the 2 chains this week? Your shoulder's too sore?
Shoulder's too sore.
Hello to you, man. Liam Santa Maria, hello to you.
Hello, mate. Hello. Just a few days away. NBL 22 about to pop off.
We can't wait for it. Of course, the power rankings, a lot of people are very excited. They're about 10 minutes away from being dropped. But let's get into it. Round 1, it starts Friday night. I'm going to start with you, Homicide. What are you most looking forward to as we kickstart, finally, NBL 22?
Kevin White versus Dusty Hannah. That is the game I am looking forward to. Perth Wildcats versus Adelaide 36ers. They got them twice. Adelaide, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into that a little later. But I am truly, truly impressed early with what I saw from the 36ers.
You know what I liked about that Dusty Hannah's Kevin White scenario? Is that Dusty came out and lit him up. You know, they got into it a little bit. Well, I would love to have seen exactly what happened that got Dusty all fired up. He's clearly telling him, I will beat the feces out of you. And then, which I'm not sure he will. Doesn't have a huge reach, Dusty Hannah's, just quietly. But I tell you what he does have is some chutzpah.
Yeah.
And some, you know, proverbials, because he came out and absolutely lit him up and got Adelaide over the line.
Man. He did. He torched them. I was very impressed. 13 straight. It was because of him they won. Because, honestly, it was quiet for him in that game. And this is why I'm going to say he is not going to Perth and having his way. Kevin White, let's keep it real here. Kevin White is no joke on defense. In this matchup, it's going to be great, but I got Kevin White shutting that down.
Even though Dusty went to work after the little...
I got Kevin White shutting that down because Kevin White, defensively, I respect his gangster. I respect it. I respect it.
I've got Dusty Hannah's giving him some more business.
Yeah, I've got a good, tight battle. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, Homicide. I'm simply saying I think Dusty is going to bring something like he did that won that game. What are you into?
I'm into that Sydney-Melbourne clash. Always good when those two big market teams go head-to-head. And the debut of Matthew Dellavedova, huge for the NBL, him coming into the league. And I'm also interested to see what Sydney are going to bring. We haven't had a really good look at them during the pre-season. Of course, that game against Illawarra got cancelled. But, you know, we've slept a little on Delhi's inclusion and how big it is to the general punter, I think, over the pre-season. We haven't talked about it a lot, but, you know, like Andrew Bogut came into the league. He's an instantly recognisable name to all the general sports fans in Australia. And Delhi is no different. Hard-nosed, Aussie battler, 3-time Olympian, NBA champion. Not going to lead the league in scoring by any stretch of the imagination, but they want him to make more and more plays like that, lead their team. He's just going to be, I think, really good for them over the course of the year, and he makes his debut.
Just on that, a couple of things. One, I agree with, you know, obviously the Andrew Bogut thing and Matthew Dellavedova. Probably a little underplayed. A couple of reasons for it. He went to a team that won last year's championship, so there's maybe not as much fanfare when that actually happens. And 2, the league's got more stories. Now, not to say that it won't develop, and we all love Matthew Dellavedova here, and I agree. I think he'll have a great year, but I think that's a credit to the league in 2021 that Matthew Dellavedova isn't just getting slapped, not literally, but across the face of every single punter, because that's where the league sits compared to it might have 3 years ago, whenever the bogey news was announced.
And also, with the Sydney Kings, like a flag, we need to get a bit better look at them. Just a tiny little taste of Jalen Adams. We didn't see Makua Maker. We didn't see RJ Hunter. So what do they look like when they roll out for game 1?
I'm going to be courtside.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to be there. I'm not sure if I'll be courtside, but I am going to be there. So if you're in the vicinity, drop me a DM. We'll grab a beer. I get in Saturday night, so looking forward to that. Because you know what?
Hold on. You're looking for some friends. You don't know anyone in Sydney?
Not really, but I don't. Actually, the people I do know don't like me. So hit me up. But you know why I'm going to Sydney? 1, it's going to be a great game.
Big game.
But I'm bloody slammed out of Tasmania, and I couldn't wait to get there Friday night. I love history and sport. I love the emotion that comes with groundbreaking events and groundbreaking moments, and no doubt Friday night is going to be that. And Tasmania is going to be jumping. We all can't wait to get down to the nest, and I'll say this off the top. I hope all the players, the coaching staff led by Scott Roth, all the administrators, take it in, regardless of the result. Whatever happens, take it in and understand how big and how important they are to the history of this league in the next bang, I hope to see a little more of that. But in 50 years' time, they were a part of the first ever game around the Jack Jumpers. So enjoy it. When you're playing, of course, win, lose or draw, whatever happens, it can obviously change your emotions a little bit. But I hope they can all look back sooner rather than later and be proud of what they have achieved, because this is jumping this joint, and Friday night's going to be no exception.
I'm excited to see them roll out on Friday, because that Josh Machado, man.
Yep.
He's the real deal. He's so unassuming. You would not even think he could hoop. And he'll come out and give you work. He was impressive Friday night when I called that game. I watched him play, and I was really, really impressed. Yeah, it was against Cairns, but at the end of the day, he got moves. He could pass. There's going to be a battle for that assist leader. You talked about it, Jim. You talked about it.
It's not a battle. You've already given it to him, haven't you?
Well, yeah,
Last week?
Dally and Macca will be in that conversation.
Oh, now you're including Dally and Macca. A week ago was like, Majet's going to lead the league.
Nah, Majet's going to lead the league. Don't worry about it.
Let's not forget about Machado. But it's going to be interesting. He's legit, long story short.
Yeah.
And you already know I'm a fan of Adams.
Now, are you, yes or no is not far away, but I want... Are you officially the #1 ticket holder or not? Because we campaigned for 2 years. We're on the eve of this huge night, and you're not.
I'm with him.
Who beat you? Who is the #1 ticket holder at Tasmania?
I don't know, but there's somebody down there officially a #1
You got on a zip line for that franchise.
I did.
It's not Tim Payne. I'll tell you that.
Oh, jeez, I can't believe you've gone there. All right. Hey, on that note, to put a little heat off Tim Payne and onto Liam Santa Maria, let's get into the power rankings.
All right.
Let's go. Set NBL last week, nbl.com.au. You can jump on, check it out. All right, here we go. All right, Homicide, you and I'll rip these apart. Illawarra at top. Phoenix, there's the King. Adelaide were undefeated, won the Blitz, and are still what are they? Number 6.
Number
6. There's the Breakers, the Wildcats, the Jack Jumpers, and the Taipans. Homicide, first thoughts.
Adelaide 36ers need to be in the top 4. I actually switched my top 4 predictions.
Oh, okay.
And they are in it.
Okay.
We'll get to that maybe later. We'll jump into that.
We are definitely getting to
that.
We'll
jump into that later. I'll explain my reasons why. But Liam, you got this wrong.
No. So hang on. So just I love what Illawarra have done. I love the Phoenix. We're going to get to that shortly. But Adelaide is the question mark, and you explained very well last week what the power rankings are. It's based on what you have seen. Adelaide,
undefeated.
Couldn't have done anything else.
No, you're right. They haven't put a foot wrong. They just haven't been properly tested yet for mine. I mean, they beat all the teams that they beat are all below them on the power rankings. Besides Brisbane, who sat out their entire starting 5. You couldn't really gauge much from that game. And they didn't actually go out there and thump that Brisbane team that didn't have any of their starters. So, again, I just still need to see more from Adelaide, but good on them. Well done to CJ Bruden. What you can say about them is they've built a little momentum. You go undefeated in the preseason, that has good feelings around the group, and you can start to build on some things. We haven't seen a lot of Isaac Humphries either as he works his way back from injury, but there have definitely been good signs around this group. And I tip my hat to CJ Bruden. Very cool.
Yeah, he doesn't tip it enough.
No.
Anywhere up the power rankings.
Good start. Very cool for him in his first few games with the club to lead them to the trophy named after his old man, the Loggins Bruton Cup. Cool. And to think, he was in charge of the Bullets last season as well. That's 2 years undefeated pretty much for him at the Blitz. So really good signs there. Can they come out in the first week of the regular season in Perth and then at home against Illawarra? They're going to now get some real tests on the board against, not just, they've beaten Perth, sure, but go over and get that done in RAC Arena. That's a whole different kettle of fish. But I think that the big movers on the power rankings are the New Zealand Breakers, right? They've slipped from 3rd all the way down to 7th, and that's because, man, this COVID situation has hit them hard.
Just before we get to New Zealand, just on Adelaide, they went out and got Mitch McCarron for that exact reason, what we see. Ray Borner medalist over the Blitz, and just bringing exactly what he does. It's a point guards league. In fact, you could almost argue any basketball league around the world is in that mould. But the very fact is they had to go and get someone. They liked what they had around Josh Giddey last year, who they knew wasn't going to be there. McCarron comes in and does a bit of everything. What was it, 6, 6 and 7 he averaged, and that even might be understating how great he is. He plays both ends. So to see Mitch McCarron do what exactly we expected him to do and Adelaide desperately needed him to do, it was cool to see. And it goes a long way to filling that mould without diminishing what Mitch McCarron's done in the past that Josh Giddey has left. So that's a nice little start. All right, New Zealand.
Yeah, man, they're under the pump here. They've had it really, really tough. The couple of games where they were out there on the floor, New Zealand, I thought that they were really impressive. They got wins over Southeast Melbourne and Sydney, and you know, the young guys got out there and just flashed their talents. Hugo Besson, Ousmane Dieng, we spoke about them last week. Jeremiah Martin's a nice pickup as well, and he's going to be really important. But they've had a really heavily disrupted past week. COVID outbreak within their travelling party. Dan Shamir, the head coach, caught up as one of the people afflicted. A couple of key players as well, kept them off the floor. My understanding is Dan Shamir, having spoken to him a little bit, he's had it pretty tough. You know, he said, it's going to take me a little while to get my strength back after this because this really has knocked me around. So, you know, our best wishes go out to him and the others, Matt Walsh and his young son and the players and everyone else that are dealing with COVID right now. But as a group, you cannot deny this has impacted on their preparation for not only the opening round, but really the first part of the season, which, given their entire circumstances, is really the last thing that they needed.
It's been a very tough couple of years for them. And, you know, like we all do, we really hope it turns around quickly for them because it's almost not fair how bad this organization has been done, you know, and it's just bad luck. It really, really is. So hopefully this thing can turn around sooner than later because the league isn't getting any weaker. You know what I mean? So good luck to you all, man.
Everything what you just said, agree with, both you two. And the fact is, the health and safety of away from basketball, of the coach and the players and everyone associated with the team that has done so much for the league in the last 18 months. Like, there's really no league last year without those guys going on the road for pretty much 90% of it. What I will say, this is going to happen to every club in the league at some point. And I hope it doesn't. But COVID's something that every professional sporting team around the world has to deal with. And right now, it sucks for New Zealand and it's hurt their preparation. The game couldn't be delayed because it would have set a precedent for when February, unfortunately, this is going to come in and creep in. We've seen it happen. Joel Embiid missed 8 games. We've seen Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. The way we have to try and move on and live with it is an issue. And I'm not hoping this happens, but at some point I fully expect New Zealand, later in the year, with their clean bill of health and going well, are going to be the benefactor of a team maybe missing a player or two or their preparation being altered. So it sucks. And as I said, the health and safety is way more important. But we have to learn to live with this, and it's going to affect every team at some point over the course of the season. And you can't just continue to push games back because if we had to push Saturday night back, and I understand the argument for it, and we have a great deal. I have more empathy and sympathy for New Zealand because of what they did last year than any other team in the league. I 100% am on that side. But we push that back. We get in the deep middle of February, and all of a sudden there's a really big game where it's a top 4 spot or a top 2 spot up for grabs, and a player can't play because he's in the health and safety protocol. They'd be like, well, hang on, you did it in November. You did in December. So it would have set a precedent that unfortunately is going to pop up. And it sucks. But New Zealand, get right, get healthy, get safe, get back to New Zealand at some point and have a decent crack at it because their crew they've put together is going to be fun to watch when they get a little bit of luck.
Yeah, and look, part of that are the regulations that exist within different states around the country. You know, like in New South Wales, that issue with the Illawarra-Sydney game, they had the close contacts have to go into 7 days. Well, that's not going to work. Everyone needs to catch up to what you're saying and move on. And then another part is there are regulations in place and protocols with regards to the NBL about whether the game goes ahead or is delayed. My understanding, I had it mentioned to me the other day, I'm not sure exactly, but I think it's like 8 fully contracted players. If you can suit up 8 fully contracted players, then the game progresses, and the Breakers are in that boat, and they're going to be able to do that.
All right. Hey, the big man from Southeast Melbourne, Phoenix, Joe Chi, do you want to go first? Because he's been great in the Blitz, and then he ducks over and represents China, and he was great as well. Was it Japan he was dominant against?
Smashed them.
Now, either of you boys take it from here because he was outstanding, and I'm looking forward to him getting back. Now, I'll ask you, Liam.
Yeah.
He's in uniform this week?
I'm not sure that's a lock.
Okay.
Yeah, that was some of the reporting upon his coming back. Look, he just dominated Japan, of course, and it was cool that he could go back and play for China in the FIBA window right before the start of the season. 24-12 with 3 blocks. He's going to have an enormous impact, especially at the defensive end, which we know is something that the Phoenix have really been calling out for. And then just his length and his dexterity around the rim, he's going to be able to make plenty of plays. But late in the third quarter against Japan, he turned his ankle. So that complicates things. Has to do 3 days of quarantine under the new rules on the way back. I'm not sure it's a lock that he's going to be in uniform for opening night for the Phoenix against the Breakers, which makes that whole New Zealand Breakers situation even the more interesting. Is Yani Wetzel, for example, one of those guys caught up in that situation? Will he be out there on the floor? If he is, and Joe Chi's not out there, against his former team, the Pretzel might have an enormous night. So plenty of intrigue in the lead up to that game.
Bring it on, because you know the Pretzel's no joke. And everybody loves to play against their former team. Mm-hmm. But I got the Phoenix for the win.
Straight up. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. We've already gone pretty deep in Adelaide, so I want to get into Cairns.
Okay.
Because, well, Adelaide were outstanding and did what they did when it comes to the power rankings. And I'm assuming the majority of... You had power rankings Cairns last, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I'm assuming that everyone's around the nation has Cairns a little lower when it comes to their season predictions. They've really struggled to turn the ball over a great deal, didn't bring a great deal of defensive intensity. They couldn't score off the bench. They couldn't even really score, to be fair. Nate Jaiwai, the only guy more than 20. Scotty Machado was... And it's an incredibly high standard of which Scotty Machado has set in the last 2 years, but is a little bit below it as well. And Quat Noi, who we expect has to go to that next level. We expected it last year. Injuries curtailed that. We need him to stand up. Homicide, what's your take?
This is bad. The biggest thing when you finish wooden spoon, you got to look at yourself in the mirror. And the last thing you ever want to do is finish last, start last. They haven't won a game in preseason. That is bad. That's just going to make those old feelings resurface. I don't know what to say about this team. We said this all last season. I remember arguing with you in the beginning. I'm like, nah, don't worry about it. They'll be fine. They went to the grand final, a game away, and it didn't get fine. Injury riddled. Then when they came back, the players came back, it was too late. You cannot start off like this if you want to be better. You have to hold yourself accountable. Quad Noi, not looking good. Majuk Deng, he looks okay, but it's not enough, right? I like how Jawai's looking. He's in shape, but everybody else is going to have to lift a ridiculous amount of their workload for them to not finish last. And I can't see that happening. I just can't. This team is in a world of hurt.
Facts. Absolute facts. I mean, you don't want to take too much from the preseason at any point, and it's not so much about the wins and the losses, although there are no wins to talk about. It's how they've looked. And this is a team who, they sat to Jim McCall out at one point and Quat Noi, but for the most part throughout that blitz, they had that group. They had Machado and Tajir McCall and Noi and Majuk Deng and Steven Zimmerman, all those guys on the floor, and it's not looking good. And I'm going to go a little step further about Quat Noi. I'm disappointed with how he looks in terms of how he's reported to the preseason and the start of the season. He's not in peak condition, and this is a guy who over the last couple, made a bit of a splash as a rookie. We thought, okay, well, when's he going to take the leap to become a bona fide star in this league?
We ain't seen him since.
And that's not going to happen this season. You can't report to the start of the season in that condition and have a breakout. Yeah, that's not going to happen. And then let me just touch on this, Cam. A big part of it falls on Scott Machado. He needs to be an MVP caliber performer for this team to be competitive. When they broke out 2 years ago, he was runner-up in MVP voting. And we know he can be that guy. And a lot of it comes down to, he can play make. He'll set guys up. He's going to have a bunch of dimes over the course of the year, and he's just a tough playmaker at a pick and roll. He's got to be able to knock down that three ball. It's the difference maker for him. 40% from three in that runner-up MVP season. It dipped last year to 36. In the preseason, it's dropped below 20%. So that's the key for him. If he can find that stroke, it keeps the defense honest, it ticks the scoreboard over, it means he can get into the lane. So important for him and that team.
Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. Cairns fans, Cairns players, feel free. Hit us up. Let's go. Hashtag NBL Overtime. All right, Coaches Challenge. Into the league, introduced the announcement yesterday. There you go. And really to paraphrase it, personal fouls and out of bounds anytime over the course of the game. You've got one. If you get it right, you hold on to it. If you get it wrong, you lose it. Love that. You need to have a timeout. If you've still got it and the game goes to overtime, you hold on to it. I really like this idea. I wasn't huge last year, as we spoke about, and the referees going to the monitor a lot. That'll be diminished this year. And the fact was, we'd be sitting there in the broadcast position going, refs, you've got it right. Don't go and look. Just back yourself in. And hopefully this changes a little bit where they back themselves in a little bit more, knowing that the coaches can go, hang on a second, I want to challenge this. And I think that's the major thing for me. I like it. And Homicide, the coach, can no longer complain because they can call a timeout and put their hand up and say, let's go to the monitor. If not, go by the referee's call, which for a lot of time, most of the time last year, I think more than 90%, it was correct.
Well, I totally am for this. This is where the game needs to go. The coaches, a lot of times, instead of complaining to the referee, just challenge it.
They'll still complain, but you're right.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. Liam?
I don't love that we have to go to this point. I believe in the sanctity in sport of that the referees are there to adjudicate the game and that their decision is final. And okay, we've got to this point because we don't, and it was so competitive, and the players and the coaches and the fans and everyone's so competitive, which is in itself cool that we are all over the refs all the time. And you're right, if it can result in less berating of the refs from the coaches all game long, because they can say, look, either challenge it or shut up and let's move on, cool. But I think you picked up on a really good point. Out of bounds, part of the coaches' challenge is some changes to the replay system. Out of bounds is only reviewed in the last 2 minutes of the game now. The rest of it applies to the coach's challenge. So from now on, is it off him? Is it off? You can't be like, woo, 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 let's get a bit of a challenge happening. It's the ref's decision. We're not even going to the monitor, or you can challenge it if you want to, which I like. And of course, the obvious change to make from the NBL Cup last season was if you get it right, you keep it. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes this season.
We've got to this point because of the technology in every single angle in all sports. It's analysed to an nth degree and it's up on social media within 10 seconds or whatever it might be. So, look, to be fair, you can get food on your phone. Like, technology changes. We're lazier as a society. And I'm not saying the referees are lazier, but subconsciously it does play in every now and then, knowing if you make a mistake, it's going to be upstairs, possibly on the screen in the stadium within 10 seconds. So they want to go to the monitor. The thing is, they've got to back themselves in because they were really good last year, except we kept stopping games because the players
for out of bounds.
Players were like every single a dude throws it out of court, no one's near it. Oh, we better go upstairs and check it. And that's going to be gone now. And I like it because it is entertainment. It has to be quicker, and I like it's now a little bit on the coaches.
Oh, and the other thing that's good is that the refs, our replay system is the envy of the world in world basketball right now because it's so quick. And so the payoff of that is this season the refs aren't going to go to the monitor nearly as much. Reviews will happen. They'll stay out on the floor. They'll get the word from the replay centre. Bang, we're going in this direction.
All right, prediction time. Homicide made a prediction back in June, and he's been able to tinker with it. Let's have a look. Let's wall through it. Oh.
Okay, champions.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay.
I like that we've gone very different. It's Phoenix, Illawarra and Sydney, so no Perth or Melbourne. Now, you've changed the top four.
I have.
I notice you haven't got one particular crew in there, though.
Yeah, I took Sydney out.
I wasn't talking about Sydney.
Okay, Adelaide in.
Yeah, Adelaide in. Well,
let's come back to. We've got to talk about that for sure.
Yes.
I switched off Bryce Cotton just quietly for MVP. Maybe I've got voter fatigue. I want to mix it up. I think Mitch Creek's going to have a massive year. I think the Phoenix are going to be super successful.
I had to flip the coin between Jarrell Martin and Xavier Cooks. I like Sydney as a C-by them having as champions, but the fact is I like their depth. Like guys like Angus Glover, Vasilovic when he comes back, Roos, Geordie Hunter, who's obviously hurt. Again, timing could play a huge part of this, and hopefully for their sake and everyone's sake who's got some injuries right now, it means they get a good slate over the course of the year.
I like that Coach of the Year pick too, Cam. Simon Mitchell's going to be well and truly in that conversation this year, and he, he's done a good job with the Phoenix over those first 3 years.
All right, hey, fantasy. I see you on Instagram yesterday.
I got to explain something.
Okay.
CJ Bruton. That's a coach. From when he was playing, he was coaching, right? I don't know any coach that's new in this league as a head coach that knows the league and players in and out more than CJ, right? What's impressive to me is his first time around, I don't care who they play. They beat Perth twice. They went undefeated. They got a balanced squad. I wrote all of this down, right? Todd Withers, impressive. Can shoot the ball and can keep the defense honest, right? Money-making Mitch, we know the vibes with that. Dusty Hannah's impressive. Kai Soto between DJ and Isaac Humphries and Bairstow. They're going to push the hell out of that kid. He's going to be great. That rotation is going to be A1, not to mention Sunday Dech. I'm telling you right now, this is my sleeper team. CJ Bruton knows how to win. Knows how to win. 6 championships, 17 years played. He knows this league. I don't know nobody else that knows this league as a brand new coach. They got culture. He just buy in. They're going to buy in. You know what I mean? I think JVG got it right hiring him. And once I saw them undefeated, the biggest game for me is going to be, again, against Perth.
Can't wait for it.
I believe that they're going to go in there and get the win. They're going to get that win.
So Kevin White's going to have Dusty on lock.
But they'll still win.
You see everybody else they got?
They are. They got a good
And let me tell you something.
Hang on.
Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Gleason ain't there. Who works the hell out the refs more than Gleason? Nobody.
Vico's getting in.
They're close. They're close.
Trying to tell you.
There's a few referees in the league who teeter on the ring.
That's the dark horse.
Hey,
I'm telling you.
Did you sort out your fantasy team yet?
Nah, man. I
see you on the
got
ground
shout out
yesterday.
to everybody trying to help me out, man.
I think he just named his fantasy team, didn't he? McCarron and Soto.
You got to be quick. Fantasy.nbl.com.au. We're only got a couple of days away before we all get into it. Yes or no? Are you ready?
Let's do it.
No.
Liam?
Yes.
Liam, should the NBL play Christmas Day?
Yes.
Will United spend the entire year with only the one import?
Yeah, no.
Should we scrap Rookie of the Year? I don't understand Rookie of the Year, right? So should we scrap it and have a Rising Star Award where it's, say, under 21 or 21 and under, and anyone under that age can win it, regardless of where they're from?
Yes.
Will Ryan Broekhoff win Most Improved?
No.
Okay. Can an owner for one team play for another team?
Oh, I don't know. Well, that would be interesting.
Matt Walsh wanted me to put that in.
Oh, did he?
No, I just, okay, we've got to get the rules on that.
Yeah.
I thought you would know.
I doubt it.
Okay, cool. Will Tasmania win 50% of their games? 50%.
Yes.
Hold on. What? They're going to go 14 wins?
Yep.
The Jack Jump?
I like this. I like it. I just wanted you on the record.
What are we doing here?
That's my team.
What are we doing here?
I'm rolling with my team.
You're in the playoffs.
I'm rolling with my team.
Now,
Come on, man.
That's my team.
I asked the Ryan Broekhoff question,
we doing
okay?
here?
On fire in the Blitz, and he is a player that I expect to have a monstrous year this year. And I asked the Most Improved question, because I don't believe he will win it, because the people voting, and I'm looking at you, Liam, as part of that, probably won't vote him in because he's played for Australia and he's been in the NBA and he's been dominant overseas.
Yeah.
But to the letter of the law, if he gives us 20 this year, which is well within the realms, he is and will be the most improved player.
It's great to see him shooting
That
the
is
ball
true.
and playing the way that he has in the preseason. He's just confident. Look at him. I love this from Isaiah Liafa.
Yep.
My man's on fire. Let's get him the rock. And he just comes peeling off and knocks it down. Beautiful play from Isaiah Liafa straight after that as well. Brought Broekhoff in as the screener. Knew the defense didn't want to leave Broekhoff. Got all the way to the rim. The thing about Most Improved is the way that the award, the wording of the award is written. It says that it's for a player who has demonstrated significant improvement when compared with their entire career to date.
Wasn't David Barlow a finalist a couple of years ago?
So Dave Barlow, people nominated him under that criteria when earlier in his career he was the second leading scorer on a championship
I
team.
agree. I think we argued this at the time. And on that basis, that man, in my world, because he'll give me 20 this year.
So Ryan Broekhoff...
He might be all NBL first team. We've got 10 seconds.
If Broekhoff has a big year compared to his entire NBL career, for sure, he's in that conversation.
And that's my point. David Barlow's nominated. Anyway, look at this. I've got something new. Ready for this? Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. Next level. Only a couple of days away. Enjoy it, man. Yeah, shoot it. Go.
Come on, man. 14 wins.
14 wins.
Come on, man.
My team, number one.